You're watching Pyro Media Network.
I could be running around chasing you, but I won't. Cause I got better things to do. Rather spend my precious time chasing somebody who loves me too. If I got $1 for every time you slam the door, I would be the richest girl alive, life. If you hadn't run away every time I asked you stay, you would sleep right next to me tonight. But you didn't know me, all you wanted was a game to play, and you couldn't handle about your magic and your side chicks.
Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience is fruitful. Please feel free to visit our website to find out how you can join our growing family. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. Also, share so others may enjoy as well. And we hope you would consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. All right, let's start the show.
Hey, everybody. Happy Friday, Junior. My name is Dr. Nicole Vick of Nicole Vick Live. I'm going to say this now. AT&T is it's hurting my feelings right now. So if you experience any delays and everything, we just going to blame that on the AT&T. I don't know what's going on. So I'm apologizing in advance. But anyway, I hope you all are doing well. We are heading into Thanksgiving and into the holiday season. And I wanted to talk about sisterhood and friendship. The idea came up around this concept of Friendsgiving. And so I wanted to talk about how important that is. And that idea came up well before the election, and then the election happened. And then I was like, ooh, this is going to be real important because a lot of people are going to be canceling people, blocking people. And it's going to be really important to have really strong friendships and relationships as we head into the next 4 years and beyond, right? And so last week I kind of set the tone and talked about the importance of friendship in your mental health, your physical health. And then so this week, as promised, I think I talked about this last week, I was going to bring on some friends. And you probably will recognize both of them if you've been following me for any amount of time. One of them has been on the show a couple of times. And the other one is actually my child. We had a show together separately called Pushing Through, which was so much fun. We had a great time. But she has grown up. And is doing other things. She ain't got time to do no pushing through with her mama no more. But that's all right because our relationship has morphed. Of course, I'm still mama, always and forever. But we friends now. Like we be talking on the phone and stuff. Like, girl, did you watch Grotesquerie? What happened? Like that's where we are now. So I just want to bring them on because I want to talk about friendship and sisterhood from their perspective. And then I do want to go back to the main premise of the whole idea of these episodes around Friendsgiving, because my daughter has this tradition of doing Friendsgiving, and I want to know where it came from because I never did it, and I'm like, why she start doing that? So let's bring them on and get this party started. Okay, let's see how this Wi-Fi do. So far, so good, but we don't know. Y'all might freeze, and then we just go be froze. But anyway, hello, my friends.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
We're good. It's Thursday night. It's been a long week, but we here.
And we even had a holiday on Monday, but it still feel like, ooh, this week
Tell me
went by
about it.
real.
Really
Did you
though.
forget?
I
Why you
forget that.
laughing, Andre?
I said I forgot about the holiday. I actually forgot it was even Thursday. I was like, what day is it? I don't know what's going on at this point.
What a privilege to not know what
I
day of the week
know.
it is.
It
That's
really is
beautiful.
not. It really is not right now. It's not. It is not.
So, all right. I have known Andrea for her entire life, obviously. She is, you almost 30.
You could have left that out. You could have kept that
You
one right.
almost
Yeah,
30.
mine. You know.
Could have kept that one in the drafts.
And I'm like, how is that? I still refuse to understand how that happens because I'm only like 35. So I'm trying to understand how
That's what
you
I had said. Remember I had said that because I'm like, there's no way I'm almost 30 because I'm still like 21. We talking about like I don't feel like I'm like, what happened? Like, I don't know. Like I have a friend, she like 22, and I'm just like, girl, we are the same age. And she's just like, yeah, I mean, yeah, if you want to say that, but it's like, no, sis, we the same age. Like we the same age. So I don't know.
that is hilarious. And I've known Jamila since 2007?
Before that, Madison was
2006?
born in 2007. So yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So that's 2006 then. It had to be at least.
So
Okay.
about
So
18 years maybe.
it's
Yeah,
almost 20 years.
well, like too, I feel like.
Well, yeah, we've known Madison her whole life. And Madison
Right.
now, if you see Madison, I swear to you, that day of your baby shower, Madison was next to you. I was like, oh, that must be one of Jamila's friends. And then I had to look again. I was like, wait.
Yeah, I think a lot of people didn't recognize her. They're like, who was that? And I was like, that's Madison. Yeah, she's got her own thing. You know how y'all Aries be.
Oh yeah. Always an individual.
Absolutely.
Always, always.
So one of the things I want to ask y'all, my bad, the election. How y'all feel? Just 2 seconds. We're gonna move away from it real fast. But y'all okay? You good?
I'm better now, but yeah, I think that most people felt the same way that I felt. Like we were not shocked, but we were disappointed and sad. Like, but I don't think anybody was surprised. I think people were kind of like, well, yeah, this is the real America. Like, this is really what America looks like. People, they was fronting really well for a while. They thinking that things are a certain way, but no, for real, this is America. This is what really is going on behind the scenes. This is really what people think behind the scenes. So that's how I feel.
And you, Miss Andrea, because you in a different part of the country.
I mean, I also was not surprised. I think I just was like, okay, well, I know what time it is, like I think I knew what time it was. Like over here, it's literally like humongous signs the size of like your car. And it's just like they just say Trump. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I already knew what time it was out here. So but also I don't know, like I guess it doesn't feel like I haven't experienced anything, yet. So I guess we'll see. I think it's just the scary. Well, actually, that's not true. I've had some scary experiences, but it's just certain areas and certain cities you don't go to. But I mean, aside from that, I knew what time it was. I knew.
That's what
Yeah. That's wild. And so, after the election, I saw, like I said in the intro, social media posts like, ooh, friendships is gonna have to change, and we're gonna have to start cutting people off. And so, how important are strong friendships in this new era that we're about to walk into, given what the election and just the temperature of the country? Like, how important do you think that will be for us?
It's pretty important. I mean, I think also because I've seen a lot of people say things like, it doesn't matter, like your friends' political beliefs don't affect the friendship. And it's like, no, it does, because it shows that the person is selfish and they voted solely for themselves and not for the betterment of like maybe, a person that doesn't look like them. So no, we not finna do that, it definitely made me want to choose more of the friends that look like me and less of the ones that don't. That's all I can say. I'll just leave it at that.
I think this is challenging for me because I'm one of the people that are like, if people I know voted for this person, I'm like, I mean, that's going to be a real strain on our relationship because it reflects to me some values that I don't agree with. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's not because, oh, you just voted for this person. It's not even about that, because I feel like I'm a pretty reasonable person. It's not like I haven't voted for people who were not democratic. You know what I mean? It's not even about that. It's about what that person represents and that person's values. And I feel like if you voted for them, that means you're in agreement with it. And I don't have those values. And I don't necessarily feel like you choose friends because they have different values. I think you choose friends based on similarities and based on, things that you have in common or things that you aspire to be, and that's not something that I aspire to be at all. And I think that's where it gets tricky. But at the same time, because, my spirituality says to embrace love, it's like, do you really just cut people off because they voted for this person? So I kind of struggle with that. But at the same time, I realize that some people do need to be cut off. Some people just don't share the same values. And I think that's important. I think that's a part of growth. And I think that's a part of the cycle of friendships. Not all friendships you carry on, right? Like sometimes that friendship was just for a time and then you learn, you grow apart. And then I think other times you like that's your person. Like that is the person you go to for whatever, and that friendship is solid and it withstands the test of time. But it's a challenging time, I think, for a lot of people right now.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Yeah, and I think we just have to see how this all plays out. Like, ooh, but I think people are starting to discover and realize and recognize some things. And I think you're right about sometimes friendships are for a specific season or they're for a lifetime. And it really just depends on if your values are aligned or not. Um, Real quick, before we go to commercial, the whole point of this episode really started from my thought of Friendsgiving. And I know, Andrea, I want you to speak to this. You have been doing Friendsgiving for a few years, and I wonder where that came from, because I know, like, you're not going to say my mama did it because I never did. So I'm just wondering, like, where did that concept come from for you to want to do that with your friends? And will you continue to do it, or like, because the economy is wild now? So can you talk a little bit about that idea?
Yeah, I mean, everybody kind of does them. I don't know, like everybody, or maybe everybody in my age group. I don't know, but everybody that I see on social media does them, and um, you know, and so pretty much it's just kind of like a cool little idea. You get together with your friends and you eat. And I like to cook, and I like to cook for people that I love. So that was it, really. Just that's really all it is. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's really just that simple. So.
I
Mhm.
have a question about
Okay.
it. Does it also stem from, like, I know, so my husband, his family is not out here, and because of the nature of his work, a lot of his friends do what he does, and they don't have a lot of family out here either. So they've always had like these Friendsgiving because they didn't have family out here. So I wonder if it's something that sort of birthed out of that, that idea or that, situation.
I would say so. Probably like kinship and just making everyone feel included. I mean, like out here, there's no one out here but like my grandparents, and then like I have made some friends out here and stuff, and like they don't have their families, so they're doing them and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just kind of still feel like you're still carrying on a tradition, and you can still feel included in like the festivities and stuff like that without having to fly home or do this or do that. So but it's real simple. It's like literally just eating, and it's like a party. So I guess we kind of just putting a different title on it, but we really just be, drinking and playing games and eating. So yeah.
Y'all be
Yes.
partying. Y'all be partying. And it's always a good time. I can tell. I don't be out there with them because I figured that's their party. But I can tell it's a big thing. We're gonna go ahead and go into commercial. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about friendship and sisterhood.
Are you ready for enlightening conversations that transcend boundaries? Get ready for Conversations with Clergy, brought to you by the HIV Vaccine Trials Network. In partnership with the world's largest publicly funded international collaboration, the HVTN is dedicated to evaluating vaccines to prevent HIV and COVID-19. But their impact doesn't stop there. The HVTN is at the forefront of advancing vaccinology, social and behavioral sciences, statistics, immunology, and even contributing to the research on tuberculosis and COVID-19 vaccines. By supporting Conversations with Clergy, the HVTN not only brings you thought-provoking discussions, but also contributes to the global effort to combat infectious diseases. Tune in, stay informed, and be a part of the change. Conversations with Clergy, supported by the HVTN, empowering conversations, empowering lives. Join us in this journey of knowledge, understanding, and progress. Conversations with Clergy, proudly brought to you by the HIV Vaccine Trials Network, because together we can make a difference.
And we're back. We're back. Talking about friendship, sisterhood, friendsgiving, Black women, all of the things. Andrea, do you think there are generational differences between, in regards to what friendship means, like for Black women? Like, I feel like Jamila and I are the same generation. We have a thought process about what friendship is. Do you think there's a difference in your generation? Because, y'all young, but actually you're not that young no more, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Dang, the shots are crazy, but I don't know. I think so. I feel like social media has a big impact on like kind of how our generation navigates friendship. Especially like even like with my own like, issues with friends and things like that. It's just kind of like sometimes it'll be stuff like, oh, well, I didn't get a response, but you posted on da da da. And it's like, I feel like your generation probably will be like, okay, like, it's not that serious because we all got things going on and we working and doing this. And, I feel like maybe you don't even talk to your friends as often. Maybe, I don't know how often you talk to your friends, but like, I feel like it don't seem like you talk to them that often, like for the most part, like maybe like every few days or if that. I don't know if it's like a consistent thing. So I just feel like a lot of people in my age group, like because we're on so many platforms and there's so much consumption and so much media and so many places to communicate with people, like we're kind of always connected to our friends. And so, that's kind of the big difference. And I think that because of that, sometimes it's easy to like, also since you're always connected with people or this person, whatever friend, it can be easy to fall out with that friend or, have all these issues. I feel like, I don't know. I don't see a lot of the petty issues with y'all generation that we be having. So.
Wow. That was actually kind of profound. Like,
right. And what I was going to say is, for me, I think that social media has been sort of a determining factor in like how friendships operate. But I also feel like in both good and bad ways, because I also feel like I have friends that I only know on social media. Like I have never met in person
I
that,
do too.
but we have a connection on social media. So it's a different category of friendship that maybe didn't exist before. So social media can impact
Yeah.
real life friendships, but then
Mhm.
social media can also be a space where you meet people for certain types of friendships. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna note too. Like even with the social media, like your actual friends that you see, you mentioned something that I thought was really interesting because it's not something that I experienced. Like you posting on social media, and they're like, "Well, so why you didn't text back to me, but you posting on the social media?" That's never been a thing, like ever in my experience. But also the level of friendships, like I don't really experience friendship solely on like I don't have that many friends that are just on social media and I don't know them, personally. So I
Mhm.
think that's a difference for me. But I'm also curious about, when we talk about friendships, that social media, like you said, Nicole, brings a different level of friendship. Like it's not just friends are friends, right? This is like, what type of level of friendship is this? The quality of the friendship. Like, is this somebody you can call if you need to, talk something out? Like, what kind of quality is this friendship? And I think that is the difference now. And maybe that's a difference with me just as I've gotten older. It's not necessarily about all the friends that I have, but just like the nature and the quality of the friendships. And, because it gets a little harder to do it as you get older because you have people are raising families and people move away sometimes, or people change jobs, and maybe that was a person you saw every day at work and now you don't. So it's like it becomes harder and more challenging, I think, as you get older to like maintain friendships. So I don't know, that's kind of just an interesting observation to me about the whole social media aspect of it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think the quality of, I feel like like how you mentioned, like, the level of friendships and things like that. I feel like that line is so blurred though now too with us, because it's like, a lot of things are very surface level and we may not notice it right away, or, because everyone's just kind of, again, we're literally over consuming like everything from these people. Like if I post 20 times a day, that means that like my friends are seeing all these posts and like interacting with all of this and stuff like that. So sometimes you think a person, because they're interacting with you or they're always at the top of your message list, that person is like your best friend or whatever the case may be. But then, you try to call them because you're having an issue and they don't really care. And then you found out they're not really that friend. And it's like, I think the lines get kind of blurred with us because there's really no true, I guess, not test. I don't want to say test because I don't know. I don't like that word for that, but there's really no true, like, I guess test is the only word I can think of, but like, true test of like, what is it? What is the friendship, or is this even a friendship, or are we just cool? Like
Yeah.
just
Or
cool.
who is that person? Because that's the other thing, right? Like who's on the other end of that? You don't really know who that person is, especially if you haven't actually spoken to them. And are they just saying these things because this is how they keep in good graces? This is, but like really, really, because I think at this point in my life, I need my friends to pull my coattails, like tell me for real, for real. Am I tripping? And that's what I need. I don't need somebody just amen in and yes, that's cool. I need somebody to really be like, no, for real. I think that was kind of whack what you did, because I that's to me the test of a real friendship. Somebody who can tell you about yourself, but y'all still cool. But I trust your opinion and I trust what you're observing about me. So yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think another interesting thing about social media, and it kind of happened to me when I got hurt, right? I didn't really post a lot about what was happening to me. And I had made a post, and I guess the way I wrote it, I don't know, it must have resonated or something. And all of a sudden everybody was kind of like reaching out, like, are you okay? And calling, and the phone started ringing. And so it made me realize that just because people see you on social media doing a certain thing doesn't really mean that they're checking in. I think the perception is, well, I see Nicole, she shared this post about a bird, she's fine. But it's like, not really, right? So I think that's the other thing that social media kind of does, gives that false perception of that, well, since I see her posting, she's fine. It's like, not necessarily. And that's something also to kind of think about.
Yeah. That's why I said that big difference is literally social media when it comes down to like, friendships with our generation. Cause I mean, for you guys, it might be that too. But I think because we're like really into social media and maybe have other platforms that are more popular with like our age group that y'all don't have. But either way you put it, yeah, social media definitely, social media 100% is kind of like the biggest wedge when it comes to friendships.
Yeah. I was looking at an article from Psychology Today, and it talked about the importance of friendship. And they mentioned certain categories: lifelong friends, best friends, close friends, and then social group friends. And something, Jamila, you said, you kind of alluded to, like, maybe you have a friend that you see at work every day and you change jobs and you don't see them anymore. And I feel like, wow, that's literally like our friendship, to the point, not the part that we don't talk no more, but that's how we met. We met at work. And a lot of times work friendships don't live past that work relationship, right? But you left and I was like, we still friends. Like, what's up? So I don't know. Can you speak to that? Because I feel like that, I don't know if that's common or not. Because especially in a lot of times, a lot of us are like, don't make no friends at work. But we literally did the opposite and literally have been friends the whole time.
I agree with that. I know I have family members that are like, I don't go to work to make friends. And I don't necessarily, and I understand the reason why they're saying that. Like, I completely get it. But I also feel like you're at work most of the day. And sometimes that's the main place that you see people, and you guys are sort of communing on the same issues or lamenting about the same things. So you're finding like common ground, and it creates this bond that only you kind of share because you work in the same place. But the only thing that I would say about that is the reason a lot of times that they don't last is because those relationships are only within the confines of the job, right? It's when you're able to take those friendships outside and you're like, hey, let's do brunch, or hey, I'm having a birthday, or hey, I got this invite. Because if you just keep them in work friend, that's all they're ever going to be. But I think some of that depends on the people that you're dealing with. Like, Nicole makes friends everywhere she goes, right? Like, she's a friendly person. But I also think then that is on the responsibility of the other individual to then, put in their effort too, because that's what friendship is, right? Both people have to make an effort to be in the friendship. And I think with work people, they go to work and they call folks their work husband, my work wife, and all of this stuff. But then they go home and they don't talk. They don't see each other. They don't call on the phone, none of that stuff. Because they've sort of only put them in work, and that's it. And I've had some friends that I've been able to like take home, we'll say, with me, so that that friendship extends beyond just the job. But I think some of that just has to do with your similarities. Like, Nicole and I are very similar in a lot of ways. We share the same sort of sense of humor, or like our lifestyles, or the school we went to. It was just a lot of things that I felt like we had in common. But also, she extended herself, and I took her up on that. And, there were times when I'd come to her house, spend the night. We go out sometimes for Valentine's Day. That was just what we did. Like, we're homies now. And that's kind of what you have to do. Is like, if you're looking for a friendship, and I think that's the thing, if you're looking for a friendship, you have to be all in. Then you can't just have that be stopped at work and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a friendship.
Andrea, any thoughts on that? I was gonna say any thoughts on that, but you just said it. Say it again, right quick.
I said, if you're looking for a friend, you gotta be a friend. But nobody wants to be a friend, so that's why nobody ain't got no friends.
That part right there. I try telling my daughter that all the time, because she's a little more introverted, and then she's like, it wants to go places, and I'm like, honey, I can't go with you all those places because I can't anymore. You want to go Magic Mountain, I ain't in it. I can't do it. But she doesn't really know how to maintain friendships, and that's kind of something that I'm struggling with. Like, how do you teach your kids to maintain friendships? Because it's not easy. Because you do have to put in work. I mean,
it is
a lot of this is like being like in a marriage. Like, it takes work you got to call people, right? You got to check in on them. You got to be vested in their lives. You got to, be concerned about them. You got to be able to do favors for them, and vice versa. You can't just be like talk and that's it. You really have to be invested in the other person. And that's why I said it takes a lot to be having a lot of friends nowadays. You want to have quality friends. Sure. I know. I'm telling y'all, it's that Aries thing. Maybe you could talk to her, but I find you to be friendly, and I feel like you have a lot of friends. So even though you're saying that, because I see you as an adult, maybe I don't know, as a I don't know. She runs through friends quickly.
Maybe I'm just friendly to you, because I'm not really friendly. Like I'm not even trying to like. I feel like people will say they're not friendly and be trying to like be cute, but I'm really not being cute about it. I really just genuinely sometimes do not have the energy or the spoons to even. I just
No,
don't want to
that's
like.
her. She doesn't
And
have the energy for it. And I
I
think that's
yeah
the thing. You have to have energy to put into a friendship, right? She's like,
yeah
I just came home from school. I'm going in my room. Please,
yeah.
nobody talk to me. And I totally
Can't
get that
fake
because
it.
it's all about exactly. She gets up every day. She's got to go to school. She's got to put on the mask. Hey, how
Hmm
are you doing today? How, and then she comes home and all of that goes away. And she's like,
hmm
I'm in my natural, like, this is where I am. This is where I live most of the time. But I got to go out in the outside world and like interact with that. And I think my question is that a personality characteristic, or is that kind of how friendships are nowadays, like just in because of social media, because people don't go out as much anymore, because you can talk to your friends on the phone or through the computer. You don't actually, like back in my day, you want to see somebody, you want to talk to somebody, you better get on the phone and talk to them, or you go and see them because your mama ain't gonna let you tie up the phone line like that. So I don't know, is that the nature of being young nowadays and trying to have friendships because of all of the social media and all of the the pandemic and all of the anxiety that's created? People have sort of stayed in a shell. I don't know.
I will say so. I think it is so many different like intersections. Like it's gonna be the social media thing, obviously, and then it's gonna also be some people have like, okay, if you're neurospicy, neurodivergent, that's one thing. If I'm around people and I have to mask because I'm at school, and that's very hard to do, very very hard, because like even for me, like at school when I used to have to just mask all day long so that I can even just get through the day like without people being like, what's wrong with her, like she's genuinely like not okay. Now when I get home, I don't want to talk to nobody, and it's like, as a black person, like I'm gonna look like I have an attitude, but it's not. I don't have an attitude. I'm tired. I don't want to talk to you. And then there's that, and then there's also finding friends that you don't have to mask around, which is crazy because like you really wouldn't know until you unmask, and then you either lose them because they're like, whoa, it's so many things that it's so many different things, and it really just depends. Like
Hmm.
it could be so many different reasons why. But I relate to Madison. I would love to talk to her about that because
Yeah,
man,
absolutely. Please. That's actually a good point because it's not something that I'm not in her body. It's like I get it on one level. I understand the whole idea of somebody being introverted because she really is. She's not interested in parties. She's not interested in prom or doing any of that stuff. Like I get that. And at the same time, I know that you need friendships to survive. I know
mhm,
that.
mhm.
And that's hard to convey to somebody who's a little bit more introverted. Like
Yeah,
I always tell her, I don't need you to have 50,000 friends, but you need to have somebody that you can like talk to because you're not always going to want to talk to me about stuff. And I feel like you want to have somebody that you feel like gets you.
yeah.
So,
Maybe I'm thinking, okay, like I think a good tip, like, and for anybody that's actually watching too, that maybe has the same issue, because I'm an introvert, but I be going to parties, I be going to the club, I be going all over the place. And when I get to the club, I be talking like crazy to everybody there. And but at the same time, I'm an introvert to the point where like if I'm not going with my specific comfort friend, I don't want to go. So that's where, you
mm,
know what I mean? So like, and it's funny because like I was supposed to go to this one concert. She didn't want to go. I ain't go. I was like, oh well, because she's not going. And so, first of all, she might have to find a couple of comfort friends. But another thing will just be knowing that you ain't got to stay kind of helps me because I know I don't have to be at the club all night. Like, those people that stay at the club all night are kind of weird to me. You don't have to stay at the club forever. You can literally go to the club at 10 o'clock and leave at 11. You know what I mean? So
right, right,
it's kind
right.
of like
Yeah.
if she's going to go to a party or go to prom, she doesn't have to stay there. I mean, and then also knowing that there's escapes, like there's different escapes. She can go to the bathroom real quick. She can go step outside. And I think just me knowing I have escapes or knowing that I can leave is kind of what makes me okay to try certain things because
Yeah.
it's really not like you're not stuck there forever. So I think she just
Yeah.
have to try it out.
That's important. Thank you for that. Because I always thought it was just the small talk stuff. Because she's not real big on small talk. Like if you give her something that she's interested in, oh, she'll talk to you all day long. Talk to her about
Yeah.
some video games, or talk to her about chemistry, or talk to her about some politics or something like that. She will hold a conversation. But
Mhm.
just chit chatting, some people just don't get it. They just.
I think that's practice too, because of course
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
older. I'm older than her, so obviously I've gotten my phrases in my head, now,
Mhm.
obviously, but I think even with that, if the conversation veers away from what's planned in my head, I'm like, all right, let me just walk away because I don't know. I'm trying to find a way to get out of this. I'm gonna answer the phone. That too. Pick up your phone and be like, "Hello." That's my
Mhm.
favorite one. Just answer the
No,
phone.
interesting. I'm loving it because I'm getting a lot of information because I don't want to say I'd be concerned, but I just, she's going to be going off to college and I want her to feel like you can go out and like find friends that are similar to you because I want that for her. I don't care if it's like
Yeah.
5 or 6, but as long as you got somebody that you feel like, yeah, I wouldn't hung out with such and such. That's all that I need. Like that's all that I want for her. So.
Yeah, college will be good for her for that. Let her know she can hit me up for sure, but college will be good for her because
Okay.
that's where you find your people for sure.
That's what I keep telling her. You gotta find your folks. Your folks is
She
just
will.
not at your school. That's all.
They aren't. Yeah, but she will. She will. I promise you that she will. Mm-hmm.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
This
This
has
is
been a
heartening.
great conversation. And it's like, and literally, as you notice, I was like, I'm not going to even say anything because I love this energy and the resource sharing and the sort of, and again, it speaks to the friendship. Like, of course, Andrea is younger than Jamila, but I raised Andrea around Jamila. So that's why, they have this relationship and they can
Yeah,
talk to
that's
each other in that
auntie.
way. And
That's
so I'm really
auntie.
glad. Yeah, right. And so I'm really glad
Yeah.
that you were even able to give her those tips for Madison, right? Which is really, really cool. All right, y'all. Thank you both, Andrea. Thank you, Jamila, for being on this episode. We're
You're
about to wrap
welcome.
it on up. This was a great conversation. And for those of you that are watching, you know where to find me. I'm on social media, on LinkedIn. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Facebook. I'm like, what am I on? Instagram, all the things. So you can follow me there. I'm gonna try to get back to posting more often, y'all. I'll be tripping out. You can also check me out on my website, www.nicoledvick.com. All the stuff is there. My books. You can see my nail designs. If you want to hire me to MC your event or speak, you can do that there. And I think that's pretty. There are my books. Look at my books. Book number 1, book number 2. That's book number 3. Oh my goodness. And somebody wants me to write book number 4 about my hospital, my healthcare incident. Maybe so. We'll see one day. But that's it. That's all. Next week, we're going to run a rerun of last Thanksgiving. So we'll catch up with you in December. All right, y'all. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching Pyro Media Network. For more information, please visit pyromedianetwork.com.